Why did Wat Tyler's rebellion lead to peasant revolts? Imagine a time when ordinary people felt crushed by unfair taxes, harsh laws, and the weight of feudal rules. That was the scene in medieval England during the late 14th century. Wat Tyler's rebellion, which happened in the year 1381, was a major event that shook the social order. It didn't just stop there. It sparked a wave of peasant revolts across the country. But why did this happen? What made the peasants rise up in such large numbers? Let's find out. The rebellion started because peasants and lower classes were fed up with heavy taxes. The government had introduced a poll tax, which meant everyone paid a fixed amount regardless of income. After the Black Death, which had drastically reduced the population, the government still demanded high taxes to fund wars and royal expenses. This tax was seen as unfair and burdensome. Many peasants were already struggling to survive, so this tax pushed them over the edge. In addition to taxes, peasants faced strict feudal obligations. They were bound to work on the lord's land and had to give a portion of their crops or labor as rent. Serfdom kept peasants tied to the land, with little freedom. When they saw their rights being ignored and their livelihoods threatened, anger grew. They wanted to end serfdom and gain more control over their lives. Wat Tyler became a leader because he could unite different groups of peasants, artisans, and even some merchants. They all shared common grievances. They demanded the abolition of serfdom, the end of forced labor, fairer laws, and the removal of corrupt officials. They attacked tax records and government buildings to show their anger. The rebels also targeted symbols of aristocratic power, like the palace of John of Gaunt, a wealthy noble. When the rebels reached London, they were joined by more supporters. King Richard II, who was only 15 years old, met with them and promised reforms. He agreed to abolish serfdom and improve peasant treatment. But the situation changed when Wat Tyler was killed during a clash with the king's soldiers. Despite the promises, the rebellion was crushed in the provinces. Even though the revolt was suppressed, it had a lasting impact. It showed that common people could challenge the powerful. It also led to fewer poll taxes and helped weaken serfdom over time. The rebellion revealed the deep tensions between the ruling classes and the lower classes, which continued to cause unrest. So, the reason Wat Tyler's rebellion led to more peasant revolts was because it expressed the widespread anger over unfair taxes, social restrictions, and inequality. It united people who wanted change and inspired others to stand up for their rights. Even after it was over, the ideas of resistance and demand for justice kept growing. This event is a clear example of how ordinary people fought back during times of crisis and change in medieval Europe.